Welcome to Death by Digital Friction, presented by Workgrid. Hello, folks. There's a little sobering fact I'm sure you probably already know. On average, you'll spend a third of your life sleeping, a third of your life doing the things that you enjoy, and the remaining third, of course, working, where your working hours are spent on a hamster wheel of misused time, tension black holes, and digital friction. Why? Simply put, because the flow of the day is gummed up with, waste. Most workers will waste approximately 50% of their day context switching, app hopping, searching, and reviewing the wrong information. And you can kind of think of this as 16% of your life. Hi, my name is Rob Ryan. I'm the head of product marketing and business value here at Workgrid Software. And I'm not here just to give you an existential crisis, but to shed a light on a problem we all face and how we can best begin to assess and navigate through digital landmines. Today, we're going to cover the problem of digital friction, where it comes from, but better yet, how we can get in front of it, and a few examples of how some of our customers have quelled the noise to create a better working day. Let's start with a few facts. 68% of workers toggle between their highly used apps 10 times per hour. 31% of workers said that this toggling causes them to lose their train of thought. And workers would rather do household chores, pay their bills, or even attempt to lose weight than constantly navigate to their apps. Some studies have even suggested that it takes a full 23 minutes to recover your focus from a distraction. And with a workforce of 1,000 workers, that translates into 655,000 hours wasted every year. So, wasn't technology supposed to improve our lives? We can sum this up as digital friction. And what is it? Well, Gartner describes this as the unnecessary effort an employee has to exert to use data or technology for work. It's the needless effort that gets in the way of us focusing on the right tasks and making the right decisions. Where does it come from, and why does it cripple the employee experience? Well, it's all around us, and it falls into three main areas. Application overload, that is the where information and activity is hosted. Information overload, the what, that's your content, your conversations, activities, interactions, tasks, info, data. And digital noise pollution. This is the exponential echo effect of all the signals, pings, chimes vying for our attention. Let's first discuss application overload. Now, this is an issue that has certainly accelerated during the pandemic as there's been a run-on in procuring technology to meet the needs of a hybrid and remote workforce. Yet, what we see and oftentimes hear is that redundant, unrationalized technology lands in the existing landscape, and that is applications that do the same or similar things with little to no guidance on what to use when. And this creates potentially thousands of siloed islands of similar functionality. What's interesting is that those of us who have been in the position to procure technology or been application owners in the past certainly understand that with each new acquired enterprise app that's been sold, that solution comes with the promise to enhance productivity, increase collaboration, user adoption, etc., etc. It's the adage that this application is going to deliver back millions of ROI. But we really all know the truth. The proliferation of these apps usually deliver only a fraction of the value intended. And usually total user utility is driven out of a smaller fraction of total functionality. This systemically creates confusion to end users, especially when not governed with a holistic lens. For example, let's take a step back a moment. Think about all the areas that you could collaborate or forage for information today within your business or amongst your team. Perhaps that collaboration should occur within a wiki, or maybe that should be within your intranet community. Should it be a Slack channel, or Teams? Or maybe we could do it over a Slack call or a Teams call. Perhaps we'll do it in a document in SharePoint. Or should that be within my OneDrive? All right, it's going to be a Teams file, but that's also SharePoint. Enough, we'll just end up using email. The more areas to perform activities creates that added friction and locations to find information. Now, this certainly doesn't mean to ever go all in on one solution. Technology in and of itself never solves for organizational challenges, and that includes the employee experience. In addition, the plethora of apps to discover, check, search, find, there's the waiting, your logons. It's the orientation to a new UX and UI that you perhaps only visit every time and again. Begins to slow things down. And all of this adds to that additional time for you getting on with your day and actually being productive. Now, what also adds to additional friction and confusion is not just the where to go, but the what to look at and spend your time on. And that's having too much information. By peppering numerous redundant and third-party applications into an organization's tech stack, you begin to increase the silos of data and information that proliferate redundant capabilities where those activities can be performed, but also then where information and data can be stored and thus acted upon. You continue to water down information saturation, activity richness, and this increases the time it takes for user to discover, evaluate, collaborate, take action, decide, and so on. It also increases the likelihood of outdated and duplicative information, which again further slows down productivity and decision making. Now, with all these apps and the deluge of information, you get a byproduct I like to refer to as digital noise pollution. You as the employee, of course, backed into the corner of knowing where the information lives, which may not be the case, what the information ideally is, how it's going to be accessed, that's hopefully that you have access to it, when it was last updated, and so on. This leads to being peppered with noise from everywhere. All the pings, alerts, signals, emails, app mentions, tasks, to-dos. It creates white noise in your day. There's no prioritization of what should be important to you. I want to shed light on a dirty little secret in software for a moment. Each software vendor is typically in the business of focusing your time and attention back to them on their solution to prove their worth, which in turn is software created not with the employee in mind, but with the software provider acting as the center of your day. This could be the consumption of the CPUs, DAO, page views, active users, etc. It's their KPIs in which they measure success of your account, determined by time on target, less than the success on task of an individual, true business value, and of course, employee experience. This is similar to the news you read about on the attention economy and social media, but to a less nefarious degree. Most software vendors want you to pass your entire day through their suite, but that's not how you work. Nor should that be the expectation of your employee's journey. So what is ultimately needed is truly an agnostic approach, tailored to the personas within your organization, a way to help guide attention and manage the deluge of digital signals to work for the employee and not the software vendor seeking you to come back to their application. Digital noise pollution is systemic. It destroys the employee experience and really how folks feel about their workplace. How? Well, as humans, we have a finite amount of attention and certainly limited capacity to retain and process only so much data. When an uncontrollable flood of signals, notifications overwhelm us, stress increases to the point that you can, in fact, be triggered into a flight, fight, or freeze state. In fact, as options increase, our capacity to really absorb information, create faster decision, So, well, that actually decreases. And to cope, we form little tricks and habits to try to manage that flow of information. We oftentimes focus on particular types of medium to remember information. We usually remember in a category list, things that are first and last, and so on. But ultimately, all such reactions and stressors really limit our ability to make decisions, look at the right information, and act accordingly. Before we jump into solutions, though, I want to discuss one of the reasons and root causes, why these root causes aren't addressed. And there's a number of them, in fact. But I want to focus on one in particular, where we should really ask ourselves, why isn't employee attention assisted to aid in a better experience? Well, the counter-argument sometimes gets put forth that these issues of digital friction, noise, and technical clutter becomes that in order to survive, it's really you that must need to adapt and multitask to the technical landscape. Hopefully by now you know that multitasking is a myth. When we talk about multitasking, you don't necessarily perform one attentive task at once, but quickly switch between them. Sure, you could chew bubblegum, mow a lawn, listen to a podcast at the same time, but you can't fold the laundry, paint a room, and mow the lawn at the same time. What we're really talking about is resource allocation, physical and mental expenditure. More importantly, it's the ability to shift our attention, physical and mental, and exercise snap judgment about the priority and what's worth our efforts. Many folks who have achieved great things oftentimes credit their success to finely honed skills of paying attention to the right info. In fact, when Isaac Newton was asked the secret to his success, he responded that he really owed his success to more patient attention than any other talent. So this is seen as a you problem, one that must be solved by the individual. But to be frank, it's a lazy response. Using the employees is really a scapegoat. Let's get into solutions. So let's talk about employee attention management and some of the ways we can begin to reduce digital friction as a whole. As I mentioned prior, the backdoor argument that's perpetuating digital friction, at least one of them, is that the blame goes back on the employee to claiming this is a multitasking problem. And there is, of course, a need to ensure that employees have the right skills and assistance to increase executive functions. And for many, this could actually be considered a wellness and change approach to assisting employees, particularly through these difficult times and new working models. Executive functions are responsible for many skills: paying attention, organization, planning, prioritization, starting tasks and staying focused on them to completion, understanding different points of view, regulating emotions, self-monitoring. These are deployed over the course of your life, of course, well into your mid-20s. But with the increasing tensions in personal and professional life, also with the rise of consumer technology and content consumption moving from what was historically long-form content to snackable to what we have today, flash content, there's a need for enterprises to at least assist in focus from a wellness perspective. Additionally, to that, there's a need for digital workplace leaders to step up. Digital workplace and employee experience leadership must look more broadly across the employee experience and the journey to really understand the realities from the seat of their various employee personas. These days, minimizing workplace distractions is really the fastest way to increase productivity. The more you can streamline platforms, simplify logins, access, transactions, communications, really prioritize what those personas should have, well, the better it is for everyone. How do you get started? Well, the first step is, of course, to take a step back and really approach this strategically. Understanding the culture, the personas, the processes. What does the life cycle of an employee look like? The technology landscape. Usually starts with quick wins. Understanding those top key pain points, moments that matter within digital transformation efforts. Next is really modernizing legacy systems. When was the last time the tech stack was rationalized, audited? What is being used? What's not being managed at all? How much tech debt has accrued over recent years? And are there abilities to streamline complex employee processes while extending into existing HR, finance, ERP, and engage with enterprise technology in a more meaningful way? Another step is really taking outcome-driven design. That means focusing really on the employee's intent and what they're trying to do. That's really the how employees wish to receive information, how they want to communicate, connect, operate, and so on. And last is really multi-channel delivery, the ability that your personas are able to receive those actions, notifications, tasks, etc., in a manner dependent on where they're working, so that the experience is delivered and attuned to them. One pro tip from a technology perspective: many enterprise apps today actually offer some ability to reduce digital noise pollution. That's message notifications, app notifications, pop-ups. However, oftentimes these options, they're rarely reviewed in procurement when new apps are launched and deployed, given that it's oftentimes back-end feature functionality. That requires you to know that, one, digital friction is a problem. There's pain and effort to try to locate information, or folks are overwhelmed. And two, that there's actually potentially options within new applications to reduce that level of noise. And of course, there needs to be a strategic approach to assess that. Now, that's just a quick win, but the common missing ingredient here, of course, is that employee-first approach, understanding the employee journey and how guided attention can be used as a part of it, particularly when not aligning or weaving to the employee needs of the technical landscape. That's where you see those challenges. So prioritizing the right information, the right notifications, high-priority actions at the right time in an intelligent manner. And that's where we come in. At Workgrid, we believe there's a better way, one which starts with the employee. We help organizations unify and simplify the employee experience to help drive greater alignment, communications, actions to get back to being productive. We are a digital attention engine and virtual assistant that reduces digital friction by delivering optimized signals, tasks, notifications from across your enterprise systems, wherever the employee happens to be. Our Better Together strategy is one that's agnostic. We optimize the entire tech stack by being both the bridge and the sidekick to the employee throughout their day, delivering time and value back to what should be your most important asset, your people. Imagine a better way of working, one where wherever you happen to be, whether that's on the intranet, mobile, working within your collaboration suite, you're able to have access to the right information, smart notifications, actions, and a digital virtual assistant ready to help you in your day. And as we mentioned earlier, most applications, they tend to be walled gardens of utility, siloing off information to be accessed and discovered, all while chirping at the user to come back and perform actions. Of course, some are more intrusive than others, certainly interrupting our interruptions to value. But what most applications miss out on is taking that employee-centric approach, delivering what the user actually needs. So amplifying your digital workplace, your intranet, and really your entire tech stack with an attention engine, virtual assistant, really provides an intelligence layer to prioritize interactions employees wish to take within their day. Workgrid works with your existing systems, helping to abstract the technology layer to focus employees in on the right information, when they need it, where they need it. Perhaps your time cards, this could be ticket notifications, it could be benefits allocation, it could be actions for employee engagement, high priority notifications or communications, and so on. But better yet, let's take a look at how some of our customers are solving for digital friction and enhancing the employee experience. Workgrid was selected by AES Corp to deliver a modern, intelligent employee experience. AES believes that business success is inextricably linked to the company's ability to provide their people with a modern, intelligent digital experience to get work done. Already, they had a solid foundation from a technology ecosystem perspective, but they wanted to take it one step further. Workgrid is helping AES advance their mission of being a people-centric org by serving as the integration layer for AES's new modern internet offering. The solution helps to abstract communications, notifications, data from core enterprise systems throughout the organization, providing employees with a much more personalized, contextualized digital experience and central location to access tasks, information that matter the most to them. Workgrid will help to enable AES to tie all of their mission-critical systems together, such as Workday, ServiceNow, Concur, Ariba, etc., giving their people that centralized access to tasks, info, resources to be more effective and engaged. And a second phase, as part of their implementation, Workgrid will also provide Power BI app dashboards, helping to enable their people to share important internal reports with targeted audiences throughout the organization. Another is Riverstone. It leverages Workgrid as a digital assistant. Riverstone is on the path to create a modern digital hub that will help to transform their new digital experience for their 400 plus employees across the U.S. The company hadn't been using modern tech for EX for some time, and the organization relied on SharePoint 2013 for their intranet. Still used to share drives and very much depend on spreadsheets in the past to manage and track many of their business processes, including the company's popular and well-established charitable program, Riverstone Cares. This caused a bit of friction for the company, with manual and disjointed processes dragging down productivity and making it difficult for employees to find the time to focus on high-value work that helped them feel really engaged and fulfilled. They decided they needed to make a change and create really a digital hub for employees, a project that's been ongoing within the organization with the intent of taking a measured, thoughtful approach that's sure to enact long-lasting change for their folks. This new internet will serve as a central gathering place for everything they need to know to do within their work and lives, eliminating the multiple clicks and steps it currently takes to complete routine tasks for pay slips, time offs, expense reporting approvals, etc. Workgrid is going to help as that experience layer, abstracting functionality of the underlying enterprise systems within their hub. It's also planned to provide users with a seamless centralized access to tasks and information from those same core enterprise systems and surface those within the internet and more broadly. This will certainly help to save employees time, reduce context switching, and drive traffic both to and from the intranet, which will increase the likelihood that news, communications, critical strategic items, they'll be seen. Core systems that will be integrated include Power BI, UKG Pro, SAP Concur for simplified expense approvals, Cornerstone for training and employee performance functionality, and so on. A custom micro app will be able to help manage Riverstone Cares, their charitable giving program that I've mentioned, is part of the initial phase of launch. And additional functionality will be deployed via Workgrid over time as business and employee needs dictate, including integration into ServiceNow and other enterprise systems. So in closing, we all know the world has changed, but people certainly have not. And if we can take a step back, understand the workday and the world as it appears to employees and help to really reduce digital friction from their day, well, we can provide them with the means to do their best work. We can create digital workplaces that foster the type of employee experience we all want: modern, personalized, and human-centric. Thank you for your time today. Let's connect in the future.